discussing what an array is for uses with like data in your web design projects, and they're going to be helpful for your first project that we're going to start this week. But before we start our first project, you need to understand how to make an array, how to make a button, and how to make those two work together. We're going to start with the easy one, which is a button. Okay? So if you remember, back to the other day, we created these links and these anchors that'll take us to different parts of the page, right? Like my GitHub, for example. And in order to do that, you need a specific set of attributes, right? Remember, attributes are always going to go inside of the start tag right here, like className, for example. Okay? That's one of your vocab words, basically. I know that we've gone over it a ton, but I want to make sure everybody knows what an attribute is, and it goes right here in the start. If you need help remembering, or if you're trying to remember the difference between content and attributes, or if your attribute is not working, basically what you want to remember, let me get rid of this. Basically, what you want to remember is that the only thing that does not go in the start tag is content. Okay? Everything else, like these hrefs, like these Tailwind CSS, okay? Those all go inside of the start tag. Okay? The first thing that you see, like the div, for example, and then we have ... Excuse me, sorry. The only part that does not go inside of the alligator mouth is going to be the content, okay? So if you find your page isn't working, or you're trying to follow tutorials and they're just not turning out the way that you want them to, for whatever reason, it's probably because you're trying to write code inside of the content section and not in the starting tag section where it belongs, okay? So since this week we're going to get started doing an actual little bit of programming, right? We're going to configure an array and then call some functions out of that array. We need a button to interact with before we start actually doing that, okay? Now, again, there's a lot of like prologues and like before we start type stuff. What I want to show you is a really, really helpful keystroke that helps you comment out your code, because it's helpful to take notes on what you're trying to do. As I'm sure you figured out, it's really, really easy to get really, really lost with what you're trying to do with these web design things, right? Comments are a super easy way to kind of leave yourself notes, leave yourself documentation, help your other developers understand what you're trying to do, and it's an extremely simple keystroke, an extremely simple set of buttons, which is Control/, okay? And you can see it's going to automatically add this little bucket right here in that case. But you might be asking, what is the point of commenting on a page, right? Let's go to the lab and see what kind of stuff I've been experimenting with. This is where, once I get this page hosted, you'll have the opportunity to see what I'm doing. But I'm just kind of messing around with questions that people have that I can't solve in the instance. I'm coming up with ways to fix it over here in the lab. Okay, so that I don't get lost and so that I know what's going on my page, is I'm leaving lots of comments that you can see right here. Okay? So if we look at option number 1, which is this div column text and image thing that I was trying to put together for somebody in first period, it was going to get really messy really fast with all the images, with all of the lines of code. It's going to get confusing. That's where this comment keystroke comes really in handy. Okay? So in order to comment something out, you just need some text on the page. So it can be any type of text. It can be regular text. Okay, if I Control-S to save that, it'll appear, because a div will make text appear. Okay, it can be an entire element, like a paragraph. It can be an entire piece of import or export JavaScript that makes the computer run a little bit faster, right? It can be basically any kind of text on the page. You can hold Control/, and that'll comment it out. Now, why you would do this is two main ways. One of which is to document. The other of which is to troubleshoot, all right? So, because commenting removes whatever you're trying to do from the stack, from the recipe that you're creating, that you're asking your computer to put together, by commenting out things, you're able to toggle them on and off and either save them for later or figure out what's not working, okay? The way that you comment is you highlight the thing that you're trying to comment in total. So if I wanted to comment out my picture of Alex here, I would highlight the entire container and then just hit Control/. Okay? Now see what that does is it adds these little braces, and it adds this, this little set of extra instructions right here, and it turns the whole thing green. Okay? You know you've commented correctly if you've turned your thing green. So if I Control S to save, now that I've taken this image out of the stack, this left side flexbox is trying to do both these images, and it's stretching them out a little bit. Right? Control Z, Control S. Let's bring that picture back in. So that's one way. Let's say that my width and height, or let's do a different image. Let's say our flexbox isn't working for whatever reason. Or let's say one of our flex children is not working for whatever reason. I can highlight that entire child, Control / Control S, and it's going to get real mad at me. So let's figure out why that got mad at me. Okay, so I want to get rid of all this. Let's try that. Why are you mad? You're supposed to be working. What the heck? Maybe because I'm commenting on comments. Let's see. Okay, let's take this out. Let's see if this works. That's the right side text. Flex grandparent end div Control S. Why are you so mad? It's not supposed to do that. It didn't do that when I was figuring it out earlier. Okay, so let's just highlight these images instead, since it's being mean to me. Control / comment those out, save. Now I just have an empty div that I can experiment around with by adding maybe a different image if I wanted to. I'm still in the comment box. Okay, so let's say this picture's not working. Comment it out, Control S. Let's add another image in there, see if we like that one better. We can do it with HTML or JavaScript, or TypeScript, I mean. IMG HTML, put a little hashtag here and here, Control S, and it'll tell me that an image is trying to load. It's just not quite appearing there. So commenting is a really useful tool that'll turn your things on and off as necessary. Hey, guys, why are we talking so much? Please, come on. You'll have time to talk today. Let me finish what I'm trying to show you first. Okay, so commenting is useful. It's helpful to, oh, I broke it. Let me uncomment this real quick. And to uncomment anything, you just want to usually hit it with a little, why is this is completely not working. It's overlapping with some of my other comments. So let me just undo everything until we're back to functional. This happens sometimes, right? It does not go exactly how you plan it. All right, so let's get rid of that. We're back to normal. Okay. So the reason I'm showing you the Control / is there's a bunch of different ways that commenting happens in all of these different languages. HTML has its own comments, CSS and Tailwind have their own comments, TypeScript has its own comments, Hero UI, Next.js, they all have their own types of comments. Instead of trying to memorize 4 or 5 different ways to create a comment, just hit it with a Control / and it'll comment out the whole line. Okay? So the first thing I want to show you is making sure that you understand how to do comments with a Control /. Let's go back to my About Me page. Okay. Function F12. We'll go back to a phone. Let's make a button. Okay. Now this is a good section for you to follow along with me, but there's also an opportunity for me to show you everything, and then I can help you when you have an individual opportunity to work on it. Okay. Are you guys ready for buttons? If you're coding along with me, find a section inside of your About Me page. I'm going to go after all of my links here so that you can see where things are happening. Let's close this as well so we can see as much code as possible. All right. Let's make a button. Okay. A button, there's 2 ways. There's the way that doesn't work as well, which is JavaScript or HTML. And then there is the Hero UI version that I want to show you because it's better. The Next.js version is better. Okay. So, currently the end of our stack, the last thing that we coded, was this link right here to my YouTube channel. So this is where the next thing is going to appear because it's in stack order, right? It goes all the way down. After my YouTube channel, you can see that I've left a little comment here telling me what that is, in case I ever come back and figure out what is this link right here. Let's create a button. So, since we're using Node, React, JavaScript, Next.js, all these buzzwords that mean the template folder, okay, we have what's inside of the template folder, a big library, or that big grocery store that I've mentioned, that contains everything that you might want to put on your page. You don't have to put it all in at once, just like you don't buy every single grocery at the store, but you can pick and choose which one you're looking for based on what you ask your web page to put in. And what we're going to do right now is ask our web page to put in a button. So let me take out some of these real quick so that my thing is functional. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you happens. All right, so on a new line, I'm going to go shift comma and then write out the capital B button. And since I wrote a capital, did you miss your shot? Uh-oh, that means you have to take a lap around the classroom. Go ahead and get started. You have to run a lap around the classroom if you miss a shot. Yes, I'm serious. Yes, it's a rule.
Can this be like a practice shot?
Nope. Take a lap real quick. So, while you do a capital B button, thank you. Capital B button, that's going to automatically add the green Next.js version right here. And we just need a little bit of extra content in order to make it functional. Okay? Shift period. There we go. Control S to save. You can see it's mad at me. If you're coding along with me, it should be mad at you too. Okay? What we've done here is ask for something in a recipe we didn't buy at the grocery store. So we got to take a trip, right? We got to go get that thing that we're trying to add to our recipe. There's two ways you can do this. You can do it the long way, which I'm not going to show you because I'm going to show you the quick way. The quick way is hover over something that's red underlined, as if it was misspelled, as if it was incorrectly grammatically formatted, whatever. There's this quick fix. Oh, dang it. It went away. Okay, let me try that again. There's a quick fix right here, which the keystroke is Control plus period. Okay, or you can hover over it and click on it, and it's going to tell you what's going on. All right? Since we have this huge library, since we have this big grocery store, there's a lot of different options inside the grocery store, right? There's not one single bottle of ketchup. There's not one single type of cheese, whatever. Okay? If we ask it to add import for Hero UI button by just clicking this top link, just like on Google, the top link is usually the most helpful. Click on that. It doesn't appear like anything happens until we scroll up to the top of our page. And you're going to see, right on line number 3, there's this import. It's probably line number 2, actually. It automatically added an import button from @HeroUI/button. Okay? It bought this item from this grocery store, so now that our recipe will function. Okay? So now when I refresh, we're back to normal. And a default Hero UI button has appeared on our page. Okay? So as long as you've called a button, you've asked for it in the recipe, like this, and then you've gone to the store to get it by importing your button from the library, okay, you should see this blank gray button that when you click on it, it has this cool little animation on it, right? That's the first step, is going to the grocery store and asking your web page to get what it needs, right? So buttons, you can tell that they're loading even without content. We want to add a little bit of content so that we can see what this button is taking us to. Now to make it the same way that you write links or anchors, you want them to be obvious and understandable by the users of your web page. We want to make this button, which I'm going to have take us to the Canvas homepage, accurately reflect what it does. Okay? Canvas, right? Normal element stuff, you got a start tag, you got content, and you got an end tag, but it still doesn't do anything. We have not added the functionality yet. Okay? Buttons behave like anchors. So instead of an SRC, what 4 letters do I need in order to make my button go somewhere? Starts with an H. href, right? Equals enter. Okay? Now, still the most important part of any time you call something, whether that is bringing an image onto your page or creating a button for Canvas or whatever you're trying to do, you need a source. Okay? I'm going to Control S to save, and it's going to get mad at me. The button is still there, but the error is saying that there is no source in the href. So let's fix that. Okay? We're going to go to Canvas, the weekly agenda, in fact. And then if you go to Tuesday, you might also find that there's some helpful stuff here. That might be from other classes, but who knows. Let's take the Canvas web design homepage from this URL right up here. Okay? Go ahead and copy that guy, paste it in the href, Control V, Control S. Our error goes away, but our button doesn't work. There's one more step when you're doing additional programming on this level. In fact, let me show you a way to add a little bit of context with the comment line. Okay, this is our website going to the grocery store, right? And you can tell as I type this, it's madder than a bunch of hornets that I'm typing in this section. Go into the grocery store. That's okay, because we're going to hit it with a little control slash, and everything's fine now. So when we open up the page a little bit later, we know that right underneath this import button, this is our website going to the grocery store. Okay? We can do that same thing underneath this button that we created right here. Control slash. Actually, just kidding. We need to write some text first. This button should take us to Canvas after we give it a href. Okay? Now what I'm also going to do is add a little bit of HTML here and get my web page mad at me again, right? Like that. It's going to break it until I hit it with a little control slash. And in doing so, just comments out that entire line so that I know when I look at this button, it's going to tell me this button should take us to Canvas after we give it a href. Now the important part about commenting is to do it frequently, because nobody makes a web page in a day, right? If you do, you have burnt out on web design and it's no longer fun for you, or it's even more confusing, okay? Commenting is a great way to make sure that you know what you're doing. It's a great way to turn off buttons that were not working, like this one, for example, while I was experimenting. It does mess your code up a little bit, but it does also give you a little hint as to what it does. Okay? So, back to making our button fully functional on our page. All right? Buttons need a little bit more instructions than just a hypertext reference, okay, a href. You need to tell them what kind of button this is. And when you're using it as a link, you want to add the word as, okay? So this is going to read like a sentence. What type of as are we putting this button to? We're making it as a link, which we'll put equals, braces, and then the word link. Okay? So, all I want you to do right now is copy that exactly. It should break your page. Because if we look at this like a sentence, okay, which reads button, basically in parentheses, as a link, okay, what we've done here is ask this button to behave like a hypertext reference that takes us to this spot with this name right here. Right? Remember, computers are extremely literal. You got to give it every step along the way. But if you're following along with me and your link is red underlined, you can hover over that and look at the quick fix. It says we cannot find the name link. Did we mean capital L link? Maybe another time, but not this time. So I'm going to see what the quick fix tells me to do by clicking quick fix. And then we got a whole bunch of options here, with the top one usually being the most useful. Okay? The words that you want to prioritize whenever this quick fix pops up, okay, one of them is next, the word N-E-X-T. Okay, another one is hero UI, which is all lowercase. And then a third one is another thing I'm going to show you later, something called loose side. Okay, we'll get there a little bit later. But since this is our number one option, let me see how quickly I can draw a thumbs up. We're good, right? Okay, so we want to hover over that, click the quick fix, and add an import from next link, just like this. Now the same way that we added, oops, I forgot to comment this out. Let's get rid of you real quick. Control S. Oh, I deleted the wrong thing. Okay, look at the difference here. One of these links is lowercase, and one of these links is capitalized. This is your anchor style link right here, and then this one is your button style link. Okay? Pay attention to the capitalization, because it will, you want both of these. You don't want to react, or not react, sorry, I was reading while I was saying. You don't want to delete anything out of your system here. Okay? So I'm going to leave myself a little comment to know that this is for anchors. Okay? And since that's going to make my web page mad at me, comment it out, Control S, and then we want to go up here and put a little comment under this that says this is for buttons. Okay, comment that out. And then you can copy and paste buttons comments the same way that you can any other line of code. So I'm going to Control X that, enter, Control V that, Control S. Sorry of the hiccups. And it should all be saved. Okay? I know that I'm going fast. So, if you're feeling lost, don't worry. I just want to get all this information out before I help you guys with your individual type questions. Okay? Let me comment some of this other things out that we don't need. Oops, I broke it. Let's Control Z. Let's bring that back. Control Shift Z, Control S. Okay. So I don't need this. I don't need this fact right now. So let's get rid of that. What else don't I need? That's everything. Okay, so that means now I can also comment this out, and it should work. Nope. Why are we mad? Use status not defined. Yes, of course. Of course, of course. There we go. All right, anyway. So now we've configured a button that when we click on it, takes us to Canvas. By giving the computer the exact set of instructions, which I'm going to copy and paste these lines right here, we first told it what to do, which is create a button. Okay. Then we told it how that button's going to react. Then we gave it a reference. We gave it a location. Okay. We gave it some content so that the user can see what it is. And we closed our tag so that it completes finally. Okay? Read this little sentence, or read this as a sentence. Bring a button in as a link to go to this URL when the user clicks on this piece. All right? I know it's a lot of steps. But the best part is, if I wanted more buttons, I can just click on that, Control C. Let's do 2 more, Control S. And let's add 2 more links. Let's do this one to TypeScript arrays that you don't really have to know about right now, Control S. We'll call this content arrays. Okay, and then let's say also we wanted to, I don't know, let's go to Apple Music. Let's see what that looks like for us. Okay? Control V, change the content, Apple Music. That's just what I have open on my other tabs. So now, when I click on these different buttons, they're going to take us to these different URLs that I have open. You might see an error pop up. It should be okay. I think it's mad at me. It doesn't say why it's mad at me. But that's okay. If you see those errors, that's fine. The last thing that I'm going to show you is that you can apply Tailwind the same way that you can to other elements. You can apply them to the buttons. These buttons are just normal elements, which means they can go in flex boxes, they can be included as part of images, they can be put into tables, they can be put in the nav bar. There's so much different options that you can use these buttons for. Okay? So I'm going to save this. I'm going to add a little bit of styling to these buttons in between the as link and the href. Okay? Class name like normal. We just want to make this a background color of, let's do red, green, blue. Okay? So I type in red. Go down, let's do red 700. Control S, that should make canvas red. But it didn't for some reason. Why is that? Let's try text color. Nope, it worked. Oh, I just needed to refresh. I see. So BG for background, set it to a color, refresh. Let's do the same thing for arrays. Space, class name. Okay, enter. We'll do BG of green this time. Green 700. Scroll down until we see green 700, red, green, blue. We'll do the same thing for Apple Music. We'll go class name, enter. Oh, that's too many enters. And then we're going to set the BG to blue dash 700. Okay, now when we save and we refresh, I got red, green, blue buttons on my page. If I don't like the text color, if I don't like the text size, I can also add that to the class name. So let's do a text dash, we'll go small for SM. Okay, let's go medium on our main button. Let's go text dash MD for medium, Control S, and then let's do text extra large on Apple Music. So text dash XL, Control S. Okay, now I got 3 different size buttons that are going to scale evenly. And when I pressed on them, they take me to whatever their thing says. Did I show you guys target blank? I didn't. Let me see if that works real quick for
Where do we import the buttons from again?
Next.js.
Okay.
Let me try this real fast. Target equals, we're going to set this to _ blank, and that should open it in a new tab. Let's find out. It does. Okay, cool. That works. All right. So if you want your buttons to open in a new tab, the last little piece you can add is a target blank. Now, I know that was a lot of information. I know that I went really fast. Okay? So what I'm going to do is do it straight from scratch. Okay? Narrating every step as I go along, so that you can also copy these exact same steps. Okay? I'm going to pretend that my buttons and my links didn't come in, so we're going to remove those two things from the top of our document, okay, which is going to break it, because I don't want these buttons, which means I can comment them out with a Control/, Control S, we're back to normal. Okay, to create a button, first you got to call a button with Shift, capital B button, should be green, and then you hit Enter. Okay, and in doing so, Enter is going to add that import button from the Hero UI library. Okay, so this is the grocery store trip. Okay, Control/, comment that out, so we know what it is a little bit later. Once you save, our web page is going to break because we haven't given the button everything that it needs yet. Most important thing is a href. Okay, we're going to have this href be to google.com, which I can just type in right here, google.com. All right, and then we're going to shift period to Control S and automatically add our button in. But this is a new error that I haven't seen before. Okay, it works now if you refresh your page. So, step one, we've declared our button. We've given it a hypertext reference. The next thing we need to do is give it some content. So hypertext reference is number 2. Step number 3 is content. So it's going to be Google, Control S. When we click on Google, nothing will happen. Okay? Because step 4, we need to turn this button into a link. To do so, hit space, write as, and then hit enter, and then write LINK, and then you can scroll down till you find Hero UI, or you can just leave it blank and quick fix it. Hover over, quick fix, add that import from next.link, and then that's going to add up in the top the import lowercase link. Right? Let's add a little comment right here. Actually, let me try something real quick. If I go import link from next link and I say this is for buttons, and then I comment out just that section, does it take the whole line? It does. Okay, never mind. So pretend that I wrote this is for buttons right here. Okay, Control/, comment it out. We're going to copy that grocery store trip comment so we know what it is for later. Right here. Control V, delete. Okay, so we've got a button, we've got it as a link, we've got it to a URL that when we click, it should take us there. Okay? It 404'd me. Let me get the, why is google.com, do I need a slash or something? Let me see. Let's try adding a slash. Okay. Nope, it's not letting me go to google.com. Okay, we're going to do something different. We're going to do my YouTube again, because that's easy. Okay, so let me grab the URL for my YouTube channel. This guy right here, copy, and then we're going to paste that in the href like this. Delete, Control S. Blakeney's, I'm just actually going to call it instead subscribe. Okay, Control S. I spelled subscribe wrong. All right, to recap, we asked for a button. We gave it a hypertext reference. We gave it some content. That's going to make the button appear on the page. To make the button work, you got to bring it in as a link. Okay. You also need to bring in the button from Hero UI, like this and like this. Scroll down. And then we want to add a last little bit right here after the href, the word target. Hit enter, and then write _ blank. Okay? And when we do that, let's make it red, actually, so that it looks like a YouTube button. I forgot that step. Anyway, let's make sure it works first. Click subscribe. It should take me to my YouTube channel. All right. Let's add a little CSS, a little Tailwind, className, enter. Let's make it bg-red. Let's do YouTube red as like 600, and then let's make the text color white. So just text-white. Okay? Now it should, when I refresh, look like a subscribe button. Now if I go to dark mode, it should still say subscribe. And when I click subscribe, it'll take me to my YouTube channel. Okay? Told you it was a lot of configuring. I apologize for it being so much configuring, but since we did it from start to finish, you only have to do that once. You don't have to do that every time. You've already gone to the grocery store, you've kept the ingredient, you've got the link instructions. Now you just need to copy and paste your buttons, change the href, change the content, and you're off to the races. So that's what I want us to do today. Let me upload this video so you can follow along even later, in case you need to. Let me add, line breaks don't work for buttons apparently, so let's get rid of that. Okay, so ask questions of your neighbors, ask questions of your nearby friends, because I got to upload this real quick so that we can access it from wherever. So, 1 second.